I get people that will come into my life and they'll tell me I'm ready for change. And I've got only one rule in the work of transformation.
Okay.
If you're ready to change, give me a few minutes, give me a moment, and you will never be the same again. Now, the truth is it's not me that does it. All I know is how to guide this person to the choice, or if you will, the snap that will shift and change everything for them. But if they're not ready, if they still want to grudge, if they still want to be unmotivated, if they still want to be unhappy, then there's nothing that you can ever do, because I can't change anybody. I can guide someone through the process of changing themselves. That's why there's literally nothing more powerful, potent on the planet than when you step into an awakening that allows you to transform your own behavior, attitude, energy on the spot. All of a sudden, motivation flourishes and energy necessary for whatever your undertaking is now immediately available.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Have It All Show. I'm here today with the man of the hour, Kris Krohn, talking about some amazing things to help us get better and be better in our life. Kris, I had the unique opportunity last week to watch a training you did with the sales team. As human beings, we have a nature, a tendency, when things get going really, really tough, to pump the brakes, to slow down in life. This training was eye-opening for me. It said in that training you mentioned, as we slow down as human beings, you actually need to reverse that and push the gas even harder and go faster and break through and maintain that motivation. And it got me thinking a little bit today. I want to talk about unlimited motivation. Kris, you have a way to access motivation inside of you that most people can only dream of. It made me think of a quote from Aristotle. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit."
Yeah.
So Kris, who do you know that repeatedly does negative things and is not working at peak excellence and peak motivation?
Like everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, just most people, right? I mean,
Fair enough.
And I even know when to put myself in that category.
Okay.
It's interesting. We live in a world where I think people think that your personal motivation is a part of your identity. So like if you aren't naturally motivated,
that's not what I am.
I wasn't born.
Yeah.
I wasn't born that way.
Yep.
I don't have that. That's for other people.
Yep.
And that's when we are as our worst victims, is when we pigeonhole ourselves and we tell ourselves, well, I can't do this, or I'm too fat, or I wasn't meant for this, or my genetics won't let me do that, or I can't have this and I can't do that. And it's just a story. It's literally, we're the author of our life. We're the one that has put pen to paper. We've inked this one. We believe this one. So we get what we think about most. We get what we believe, and we get what we practice. So yeah, motivation is a huge problem in today's world, where people think that what they want is whatever they're doing or whatever they're going after. And then the moment they don't feel energized to go after it, especially when it gets hard, they create this story. I lack motivation. So I get that question probably more than any question. Kris, where does motivation come from?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. Where does it come from? How do you stay motivated every single day?
So first of all, everyone needs to understand that emotion is nothing more than a choice.
Okay.
Like emotion is a choice, hence motivation is a choice. What really does it mean to be motivated? Let's break it down and use different words. I'm excited to do this thing. And look at the way that we are as humans. I'm excited to eat this piece of cake.
Right.
I'm excited to go to the game. I'm excited to hang out with my friends. I'm excited to do these things. And just by virtue of using that language, excited, what do I feel? I feel motivated. I don't have to stop and say, I would love to just go and hang out with my friends. They're literally just on the other side of town. They're doing the coolest stuff. I just can't seem to get myself in the car to get over there because I'm not motivated. That doesn't happen.
Right.
When we want something and we're genuinely excited about it, guess what? We feel motivated.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we create a very different kind of story. I don't feel like doing my homework. It's so hard. I don't understand how to do this homework. And I've created a story that this thing is difficult. And what I usually find happens is that when we've got responsibilities for things that we've taken on that we don't enjoy, because, what emotions would I use? I don't feel like it. I'm not up to it. I'm not feeling well enough. And as a result, I'm not motivated.
Interesting.
Well, motivation is nothing more than an emotional state that you choose in regards to something. And if you can get yourself whipped up motivated to go have sex, but I can't get myself motivated to go to my job and make money, It's not because you're wired one way or the other. It's because you've practiced two different choices with certain energies and emotions. And that's why I tell people all the time, emotional intelligence outweighs knowledge. If you can get emotions on your side every moment of the day, you'll find the answer to that question, Kris. How do you tap into endless motivation?
Yeah, so you're saying there's a huge tie between emotions and motivation.
It's not a correlation. It's the same thing. This is what people don't understand. When people are like, I don't feel like doing this, I'm just not motivated. That's because you told a story and you don't, and the story is bringing you down. You're literally losing energy. And watch what happens. I use my words. There's something I need to do and I don't feel like doing it. And I say, oh, I really don't feel like doing that. All of a sudden, guess what happens? Energetically, I feel less than I was before. I feel calmer. I'd rather sit instead of stand. I'd rather lay down instead of sit. I'd rather breathe shallow instead of deep. I'd rather hang my head down instead of holding up proud and high. Our physiology literally is taking instruction. Our body language is following suit. So ideas produce emotions that lead to behaviors. And so if your emotions are allowed to be out of whack, your body will be out of whack. And before you know it, you're like, this is really weird. I know there's this thing I got to do, but this is how I feel. I got my friend got me this immortalized poop from his groin. It's disgusting, right? It's trapped in there. It's like, I just feel like poop. And I'm like, great. If you say it, you'll feel it, and then you'll produce behaviors that go right along with that. And here's the bigger picture that people understand. When you use negative language, it produces negative emotions. When you feel negative emotions, energy drops. And all of a sudden, it's almost like your body feels crippled, paralyzed, and unable to get up to do whatever it is you're trying to do. Now listen, who wants to do a task if their body isn't up to it? Who wants to do a task if you don't feel like it, but there's a part of your head that says, I'm supposed to do that? Well, look at the way that war is waging. A part of me says yes, and then emotionally and physically, I'm saying no. And I'm like, well, majority rules. I guess we're not doing this thing. Let's procrastinate this sucker.
Yeah. So I guess then the question really is, Kris, how do we overcome that, right? Like I find myself going home at night. We do so many amazing things here. Our emotion is so high all the time. I get home and like, it just kind of fades, right? Like how do we keep that emotion running high?
Let's use that specific example before we teach the principle. How many of you listening get home after work and you tell yourself when it's time to go hang out with family members or a loved one, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, how many of you get to a point in the day when you lose motivation?
Yeah, I think everybody does.
And it's like, when is it? Is it like, answer, is it 6 p.m.? Is it 9 p.m.? Is it 3 in the afternoon? Is it freaking 10 in the morning? Yeah. Well, here's what that means. It means that, first of all, you have to ask, did you start your day right? But then even if you operate at a higher energy, we at different points in the day, especially when our energy drops, it's because we've created a story. There's a lot of people that go home from work and they're like, I worked so hard today and now I just want to rest. Well, that's an idea and it's not truth. It's an idea. But if you believe the idea, then you are actually pouring faith into this belief. And if you believe after work that you're supposed to be tired, then guess what happens? Then the moment you get home, you're like, oh man, I've just been moving my body. Everything. Oh, I am feeling it just hit me. I have busted my ass today. I have worked so hard. And here comes the story. And the story will produce an emotion, an entitlement to relax and calm down, take a chill pill. And then all of a sudden the body just wants to sit. And if it's been sitting long enough, it wants to lie down. If it wants to lie down long enough, it wants to sleep. Yeah. And that's because what you're really doing is you're instructing your body and saying, I'm done with my day. Hold the phone. It's 5 p.m.
Right.
Hold the phone. Day's not over. There's like 6 more hours to live. What do you mean that you're done? It's a habit. What I'm telling you is there's no such thing as an unmotivated person. There's a person who has carelessly created stories filled with negative emotions that basically deplete the energy out of their soul, their body, so they don't feel like doing stuff. And bottom line is, it's almost like we're these brats at the end of the day that are like, I want the ice cream. I don't want to eat my vegetables. It's literally a judgment that we pass on different activities. And so when you say, well, how do you fix this? How do you reverse this?
How do you overcome that?
Here's what it starts with. It starts with make a list. Right now, first of all, destroy the stupid idea that you struggle to be motivated. That's just an idea. You should make a list of what are you motivated to do, and you should make a list of what are the things that you're not motivated to do that you maybe want to be. For example, in the first list, what are you naturally motivated to do? Well, I love spending money. I love my Netflix show that I'm really into right now. Like it's very easy to click that button and just chill and watch that show.
Just one more.
Right? It's very easy for me to say yes to ice cream. What we do is we create a positive association with the things that we want in life. And that's why it's on the motivated list. It's easy to do those things. By the way, some of us are very motivated to do some jacked up things that ruin our lives. I'm motivated to go and drink myself silly and then make a whole bunch of stupid choices, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line is it's not about right and wrong. You can make the wrongest thing feel right by choosing to believe in it. You can make the rightest thing feel wrong by choosing to believe in it. The question is, what are you pouring your energy into? And here's your list. These are the things that I'm motivated to do. The things that you're not motivated to do, everyone should make a list of them. Like literally just 5 minutes, just pause and just make a list. What are the things that you struggle to feel? Well, I have a hard time waking up in the morning. I really struggle to go to the gym. Working out is hard for my body. It's very, very challenging. I don't have one of those bodies that just loses weight really easily, right?
Yeah.
I just don't want to hang out with your side of the family. We create these. I'm not talking about you.
Nobody's ever done that before.
We create these things that we confuse for our identity, where we've passed judgment. If you look at everything you're not feeling motivated to do, be honest with yourself. You've just decided you don't like these things. And because I don't like these things, then I choose a negative emotion that I identify with these things, and there you have it. How can a person feel motivated at something that they detest? How can you feel motivated at something that you don't want to do? So you say, well, what's the secret? It's real simple. Why do you like the things on the left and hate the things on the right? You chose. I'll give you an example of this. My kids know that Dad hates green peas. Green peas, I think it is the worst vegetable ever created on the planet. I feel like they taste like little balls of dirt. I'm like, God, this is a joke, right? Like these little green balls of dirt. And so I created this stigma, an idea that peas are the worst tasting. And I was having a conversation with one of my kids, and I was basically saying, hey, you need to make this other choice. It's better for you. And one of my kids flung peas in my face, metaphorically. And I'm like, fine, I love peas. And everyone dropped their fork and mouth agape looked at me and said, what? I said, I love peas. They're the most amazing vegetable on the planet. They taste delicious. I swear God put extra energy into this vegetable when he decided to make it. I put some peas on my plate and I started eating. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so amazing. These are so delicious. And my kids all look at me like I'm crazy. Like, Dad, what happened to you? Have you been abducted? And I said, I'm just proving a point. My identity is not to hate peas. I created a preference that said that I don't like them. But guess what? If I feel like they're good for me, if I wanted to, I can snap my fingers and create a preference that they're good for me. My biggest secret in how I find endless motivation actually is demonstrated with a snap of a finger. I've actually programmed myself that every time I snap, it means that something I don't want to do has just become the easiest lift on the planet. It's something I love, it's something I enjoy, and it's something that I embrace. It's something that I accept. It's something that I'm having a freaking love affair with. So there will be times, if you hang out with me, there will be times where it's like, here comes the story. I can feel it coming on. I don't want to do this one task. And all I do is I put a smile on my face, I snap my finger, and I just tell myself in my mind, like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking jazzed about doing this. Because I understand that the secret to motivation is a choice, and it's choosing to want something. It's choosing to be excited about something. Let's get practical.
Let's do it.
You have, let's just say, a problem with your core relationship. Let's say that you and your wife are fighting about something.
Yeah.
You and your girlfriend are fighting. And you're at work and you're thinking, oh, when I get home at the end of this day, I need to confront this individual. It's going to come up again. We're going to talk about it again. Pause. The way that I'm reflecting on this right now.
Dreadful.
It's dreadful. This is not something that I'm excited about. Whose choice is that?
Mine.
By the way, watch this. Snap. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I only have 4 more hours to go before I get home. And I'm so excited to pour love and energy and excitement into this relationship. I get it. Earlier we fought about stupid crap, but you know what? I'm so gonna freaking bring the heat. We're gonna do this one thing that we both love. It's gonna be incredible and amazing. I don't know what it is. And all of a sudden, I literally changed my frame of reference. Ask yourself, Have you ever met someone that you once knew once upon a time, a long time ago, and years go by? And then the moment you reconnect with that person, immediately you're holding space as if they're the exact same person as they were under the previous frame of reference.
Yeah.
Because this is what we do. We have not watched their life and years and choices progress, and we just think that we know this person. Or it's like going to a family reunion. Dude, you get together with some of your siblings that you really spent time with when you were kids, and all of a sudden, boom, the maturity level drops dramatically because we drop into our previous frame of reference. Yeah. But where we do this toxically is when we're angry at someone and we haven't forgiven them, or we're doing, I think, the worst sin of all, grudge. I hate the whole grudge. Just means I can't change. And it means I'm angry at someone even though they've likely moved on with their life, but I keep drinking poison every time I think about them. It's the dumbest thing on the planet. But for those of you that are grudgers, because that's where you're at in your life, I get it. You were hurt really bad. And for you, it's the, I can't forgive him. One day you'll wake up and realize you just won't forgive yourself. And it's all about you and self-trust and your choices. And it has
wasted
nothing
energy.
To do. It is a ton of wasted energy. And what you do is we've created associations about how we feel about certain things in life. So all of a sudden you talk to this person for the first time in years since you've been holding a grudge on them, and you're cornered and you're forced to have an exchange, and you rapidly find out that they just lost their father to COVID, their mother to cancer, and that they have cancer and they're going to die in 2 months. There's a really good chance your heart's going to feel humbled and softened, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. All of a sudden, that thing that I was hating on you for doesn't seem all that important, unless it was really bad. And so all of a sudden, our frame of reference changes. What if we could control our own frame of reference based on what was good for us? Well, I'm going to drop on you right now, Casey, everyone listening, like literally probably my number one superpower. I wasn't born with this. It was a choice to develop it. I've got the ability, as do you, to take something I really don't want to do, that if I know it's good for me and I know I have to man up and do my part, you will watch me snap and convince myself that this thing is the most important, cherished thing. It's this thing that I'm so excited about, and I will get myself going. By the way, this is the reason why I almost never get sick. This is the reason why so many things go my way. This is the reason why my business is exploding. This is the reason why my relationship with my wife is as good as it is when it was hell once upon a time. This is the reason for so much good in my life. It's because I got to a point where I said, you know what? Victims create stories about what's not working in their life and woe is me, and collect some sympathy. But at some point we gotta wake up. We got to realize that the victimhood is never about anyone else. It's all us. It is our weakness that we were meant to experience as a part of our divine journey of becoming more. And when you graduate from it, the moment you ever go into negativity, pity party, feeling bad for, unmotivated, any of this garbage, you just pause and you realize, wait a second. Is it possible in this moment that I could snap my fingers and wake up as an entirely new human being, completely positive, excited, and energized about what's about to take place? And the moment, Casey, I realized that, my life has never been the same again. And I'm talking about peas. I'm talking about some heavy garbage, some heavy trash, trauma, things that have been very difficult to move past. And if you're listening, I want you to just pause and think, what is something I'm holding on to in my life that I've been holding on to for years, that when I think about it, it makes me unhappy? I get it. Something happened you didn't like. You created a story. And if you wanted to in this moment, you could just, without thinking, without rehearsal, without practice, you want to be the most powerful person that you are capable of. If you want to meet your potential, then put your hand, your dominant hand in the air that you use for snapping. And in a moment, you're going to snap. And when you snap, you're just going to shift your behavior and your energy and your attitude about that thing that you've been holding on to for such a long time, because you're powerful enough. It's the divine within you. You have the ability in this moment, if you wanted, to snap your fingers and choose to feel differently. You could take the thing that you hate the most and you could love it the most. You could take the thing that you despise the most, that you grudge the most, the thing that is the most boring to you, whatever it is. And you could choose to say, that thing, if it is supposed to be in my life, then I can embrace it. If that thing is a part of my world, then I'm going to love it. And you could do it right now. Literally, I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to put it right now on the count of 3. I'm going to snap, and you're going to see the shift happen right before your eyes. And you do it right now with me. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Right here in this moment, like literally becoming a new creature, born again, literally living life anew. Every day is a fresh start. What if today was the moment where just because you're so freaking transformationally powerful, you could freaking snap your fingers and light up and become someone entirely different? There is no thought that gets me more excited on this planet than knowing that in any given moment, I can change who I am to become a better version of myself. And the story of the past that has held me back can literally be one snap away from destruction. Literally leaving it behind, making sure that it never enters your airspace again. You shift your attitude and hard things become easy.
God.
That's where motivation comes from.
God. It's amazing. I like one snap, instantaneously.
Yes.
Gone.
Yes.
Gone.
Yeah.
God.
We are petty, selfish, judgmental, sometimes loathsome or destroying our own self-worth creatures that are undermining others' success or our own, and it's because we're unhappy, believing that my past has to be my future, so I'll keep responding to decisions of the past the same way forever. I can't think of a more depressing thought.
No, me neither. And it makes me think a little bit, Kris, what are the things that you come across when you're helping people? What are the outside factors, the things that we're just not like?
All right, I'm gonna share with you.
There's some things that are hiding there that get all of us.
I get people that will come to my life and they'll tell me I'm ready for change. And I've got only one rule in the work of transformation.
Okay.
If you're ready to change, give me a few minutes, give me a moment, and you will never be the same again. Now, the truth is it's not me that does it. All I know is how to guide this person to the choice, or if you will, the snap that will shift and change everything for them. But if they're not ready, if they still want to grudge, if they still want to be unmotivated, if they still want to be unhappy, then there's nothing that you can ever do, because I can't change anybody. I can guide someone through the process of changing themselves. That's why there's literally nothing more powerful, potent on the planet than when you step into an awakening that allows you to transform your own behavior, attitude, energy on the spot. All of a sudden, motivation flourishes and energy necessary for whatever your undertaking is now immediately available. It's a choice. But if someone's not ready, then follow my one rule. You can't change anyone, so don't try.
Yeah.
No matter how much you love them, if it's a daughter or a son or a wife or a friend, it doesn't matter how well you know them. If they don't want to change, you are going to waste every second of your life trying. It will come to nothing. So, that's the rough of it, Casey, is that everyone listening right now, you have to ask yourself, how changeable of a person are you?
Yeah,
I always like to ask people when I meet people, I'm like, hey, just curious, scale of 1 out of 10, how changeable are you? And they look at me kind of funny. I'm like, no, I mean, like 1 is, I hate change.
Yeah.
Change is hard. It's difficult. I don't like it. And a 10 is, oh my gosh, I eat change for breakfast. I love change. Transformation is the purpose of my existence. And I look for it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first question is, how changeable are you? Scale of 1 out of 10. And then the second thing I ask is, how teachable are you?
Okay.
Because, dude, all these people are like, I know. I got a 15-year-old daughter. She loves to say, I know. What she's saying is, I've heard this before. I'm like, honey, if you know, you're not doing it, so you don't really know.
Yep,
I love you. You're communicating that you are recollecting things that you have auditorially heard, but trust me, you don't get it. And there's a danger in the I know mind, and most of us enter adulthood with I know. I think the most dangerous thing a person can ever say is I know. Because in that moment, you stop becoming teachable. There's nothing new you can learn to the mind that thinks that it grasps everything. And it's a habit that becomes pervasive and touches everything. I know. I hate
I have
that
an I
phrase.
knower.
Yeah, so I ask, scale of 1 out of 10, how teachable are you and how changeable are you? And I'm going to get 2 numbers. They say, well, changeability, I'm like a 3. I resist change, pretty healthily. Teachability, I think I'm more of a 7. Like I'm open. I will listen and learn about things. And you need both, because without teachability, there's nothing worth changing. Without changeability, it doesn't matter what you know. But then I tell people to do this math. If you're a 3 on changeability, which many humans are, and you're a 7 on teachability, which is actually really high, then what's 7 times 3? It's 21. And I'd say, great. Any number less than 100, you're not going to change.
Yeah.
So then someone says, well, Kris, I'm a 9 on changeability, and I'm a 9 on teachability. And I say, great, 9 times 9 is 81. Anything less than 100, then all you're doing is learning a lot and trying a lot and nothing. You're not going to get no new result. There's no new result for you. But when I meet someone that says, okay, Kris, hypothetically, if I were willing to be a 10 out of 10 changeably, if I were to be a 10 out of 10 on teachability, what's 10 times 10?
100.
That's the only circumstance where change can occur, and it doesn't even guarantee you'll get the result. You have to stay a 100 and fail, try, until finally you're gonna produce a result reliably, and then you're gonna be like, wow, are you saying that I've gotta be like on my top game in terms of teachability and changeability if I ever wanna produce new results? Well, that is the key to motivation. You wanna unlock unlimited motivation, then you have to stay teachable. You have to stay changeable, because when I snap my fingers, watch how fast it happens. In an instant, I'm becoming a better version of myself, which frankly, that's my only goal every single day, just be a little better today than yesterday. And it requires for me to be 100, 10 out of 10 on both those scales.
Which one of those, Kris, would you say is more difficult to learn? Teachability or changeability?
Changeability for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting someone to become teachable, which means exit the I know mind, you can get someone there. However, getting them to actually take action on what they're learning, even if it's for their good, that's not very easy for most humans. Again, until you have your awakening where you recognize that all the people that you are blaming, even if it's yourself, for not getting what you want in life, you have to end that game of victimhood if you want something new. You can't partially exit it. You've got to literally start recognizing everywhere in your life that you point the finger. And if you point it at yourself, it's the same as pointing at someone else. I'm either pissed at this person or I'm pissed at myself.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're only doing one of those two things. When you point the finger at someone else, you go to anger and sadness. When you point the finger at yourself, you go to anger and sadness. Those are the dominant feelings. And what they do is they demotivate. So when someone says, I want 100% like motivation, I want to tap into freaking awesome motivation all the time, then I say, then you have to end your war on victimhood. Then you have to be willing, you have to give something up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let something die if you want to give birth to something new. There is no, I'm kind of motivated. And if you want to play the game of I'm sometimes motivated, dude, that's like motivational bipolar right there. You either is or you ain't.
Yeah. Listen, I think I know the answer to this, Kris, but I'm interested on your take. What's worse, failing or never trying?
Dude, never trying is the like failure to participate. Dolph Drews taught me this. He says the greatest failure in life is simply the failure to participate. You know how many people are sitting on the sidelines that are literally suited up and in the game? They're like literally on the starting line and they're acting like they're sitting next to the cheerleaders wanting to know what's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know. You're the star player of your life. Like get off. You're duff. Like it's up to you. Right. So failure to participate, you know, but then those that do, there's a number, this is the other problem. We permit ourselves a number of failures before we say, I am a failure. Most of us, that number is between 1 and 5. And that's because that's what we learned in childhood. So for example, let's say that as a child, I was playing football and I'm open for the winning touchdown. The ball comes to me and Butterfingers, it slips through my fingers. If that's the first time that's happened, I might say next time, oh my gosh, I'm going to get it next time. Like this was my glory moment and it didn't come.
Yeah.
The second time I'm going down the field again, I'm wide open. They pass the ball to me. And this time the ball was actually not catchable, but I went for it and I couldn't quite grab it. And I say, no, it's okay. It's okay. It was a bad pass. It's okay next time. And then on the next play, literally they're punting the ball to me. I thought I was supposed to run down the field. The ball whips right past me, lands on the ground. And in that moment, if you're like most human beings, you pass a different kind of judgment. You no longer say that I failed at doing this thing. You say, I am a failure. And we go into identity crisis mode of this is who I am. And so there's a danger to non-participation in life. And there's a huge danger to believing that you yourself are a failure.
Yeah.
Any successful person, the reason why they're successful is because they got past being a bystander on the side of the field and they kept failing without turning it into a personal judgment of self-worth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter for them. Guys like me, sometimes I've had to like literally fumble 20 times, 50 times. I've had to quote unquote fail 100 times because I never internalized it that I'm a failure. I was able to get back in the game. And when I finally learned how to score touchdowns, it felt amazing.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is failure is a moment in time, not who you are.
Correct.
Yeah. Huge. One last thing, Kris, because I'm dying to know this. How often do you find people who are, let me ask you this. Are you writing your own story or reading somebody else's? Right? How often do we get stuck feeling like we are writing our own story and not what somebody else, like watching somebody else's life unfold? I mean, does that create motivation problems for us?
You know, there's a really, really great book. I love recommending truly good books. And this book I would recommend to anybody. It's by Donald Miller. It's called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years.
Okay.
I think that's the title. The gist of the book is that the first 100 pages opens with this character that you just kind of loathe because he is like the symbol of mediocrity. And I remember getting to like page 70 or 80 and I'm like, this is the worst book. This is the worst book. This guy is so pathetic. And that was the point of the book. Because when he snaps his finger, if you will, he, in the second half of the book, leads the most inspiring, incredible life. Because he had to go from a journey of insignificance to significance, to truly mattering, to embracing his self-worth and to becoming someone absolutely superhero, iconically awesome for who he was in his own life. And I feel like we're all authoring our story. And that's what his changing moment was when, as a film writer, he went to this class. It was like Spielberg or something teaching like the elements of a really great story. And he went there and he all of a sudden started looking at all of these amazing elements of a hero's journey. You got this amazing hero, something really crappy has to happen. They're awoken to the quest. It's going to be hard. It tests their mettle. They have to lose someone along the way, learn to love someone along the way. And in the end, they have to fight a foe 1,000,000 times bigger than them and win. Like there's these elements of these epics when you watch Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, or all, and he started looking at his life and he asked this question. He's like, my life really sucks. And I was like, sure does. Sure does, buddy. And he's like, I wonder if I would treat my life like an epic novel or movie that I was writing. He said, I've already done the crappy part. I've already done the lame part. I need to author something different. And in that moment, he decided to he flipped the switch and realized that he had total power to create anything he wanted. My wife this morning knew that we were going to have a really long day and apart from each other. And she was missing me and she wanted to create a quality experience with me. And we had just finished up at the gym and knowing that we only had like 20 minutes and our pool is literally just barely down the street, she said, Kris, you want to go for a swim? And for just a moment, my mind said, inconvenient, not enough time, but that would be awesome. And I snapped. I said, let's go. And we spent 15 minutes down at the pool, created just fun, connection, and meaning. And then we got our day going. Well, we took advantage of that little bit that was there to do something out of the ordinary. We authored that. And I was really grateful that she was the one that stepped up and suggested that. You are the author of your life. God may have given it to you. He may have given you a handful of rules, but ultimately you've been given something really huge. It's called agency. It's the ability to choose however you want to anything. Viktor Frankl, who was a concentration camp survivor, I'll never forget when I read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, when I got to watch literally him experience through this book, through his eyes, the worst atrocities that man, women, children have ever been put through. And then there was this moment at the worst part in the book when he realized something. He said, they can take everything from me. Because they had taken his clothes, they had taken so much of his freedoms, they took food away, they took just about everything away. And he says, you know what, they can take everything from me, except for one thing, my attitude, how I choose to feel in any given circumstance. In that moment, I realized if he, in that situation, can rise above that horrible of a circumstance and realize that his attitude has power over that, in that moment, I decided that there's nothing I'll ever face that'll ever come close to that. And I'm not even going to try to play the comparison game. So that means that if he can be bigger than that circumstance, then I'm probably bigger than any circumstance I'll ever face. Which just means that it's true that one's attitude is the beginning. How you reflect creates feelings and emotions, which creates behaviors, which then impact results. And don't we all want an amazing have-it-all life? Absolutely. Don't we all want amazing 5-star relationships? Don't we all want more money? Don't we all want more magic in our lives? Don't we all want what we were meant to get coming down here? Don't we all want to fulfill mission and purpose and feel fulfilled from that? We all want these things, but these things are hard. And you've either decided that they're bigger than you because they're so hard, or you're bigger than them. I would end with this. If you want to live the most amazing life possible, you are one snap away from shifting your attitude, which changes the emotional energy, which spikes motivation and gives you the energy to carry out the thing, whether it's desirable or not.
I love it. One snap away. There you have it.
Dude, you're one snap away from everything that you want in your life.
Everything you want. That's amazing. Hey, you guys, thank you so much. Kris Krohn, appreciate you. Have It All podcast. You guys, take 1 second. You're loving what you're hearing. You're loving what you're watching Kris do. Jump over, grab a copy of the Limitless book. Kris, when you say it's a great book to have in your repertoire.
All my books are free. You can find them on all my YouTube channels, social media, links in bios. Just it's all geared towards helping you live your most masterpiece life.
Live your best life with one snap. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.